Genial. Y pasamos al capítulo 8. La verdad. Pero bueno, ¿y ese ruido? ¿Acaso hay un elefante bailando claqué en el piso de arriba? Suena justo encima, pero lo está ahí. Lo que está ahí es el almacén. ¿Cómo va a ser? Pues antes de terminar el vídeo, vamos a ver qué es eso. Ha cambiado ya. Por lo menos ha cambiado la música. Y siempre era la misma. Tenemos hasta niebla y todo. Siento que montamos y y tanto estrépito a estas horas de la madrugada. Estamos dando un jaleo tremendo en mitad de la noche. Debo descubrir qué tiene entre manos.
Monsieur Starling. Oh, detective. I was just...
Mira. Han movido esto.
Please. I eagerly await to hear what reason you give for being in the storage room at this hour.
A butler's job is never...
I am no fool, monsieur. You have spun enough stories this weekend.
Honestly, detective, you don't trust anyone.
And with good reason.
Me ha colmado la paciencia. ¿Qué está haciendo aquí?
I've been thinking about my time with the family.
I often think on fond memories, but it does not take me to a storage room in the middle of the night.
There are many memories held within these walls.
Más habla como si planeara irse de la casa. Me ha parecido oír que arrastraba los muebles.
I didn't realize the noise I was making.
Obviously. Were you preoccupied looking for another of the Major's medals?
Of course not. I already explained.
No, monsieur. You attempted to dupe me again into believing one of your stories.
Please, detective. I know you know how it ended up in my possession. I was just trying to get some extra money together to send home. I can't lose this job. If Lady Van den Bosch found out...
Qué fuerte.
Theft of a medal would be the very least of your problems.
Se ha dedicado a engañarme y ha abusado de su posición en esta casa.
Deceive? I'm sorry that I lied to you about the medal.
Por más que lo encaremos, Sterling se mantiene en sus 13 y se niega a reconocer lo que ha hecho.
Would you care to explain the fake telephone call? It was purely for my benefit, no?
A ver si es que sí que recibe una llamada.
Why would I fake a telephone?
The same reason that Mademoiselle Rihanna dressed in the Major's jacket in the snow. To allow not only the guests, but me to believe the Major was still alive.
I didn't kill him, detective.
Mira, ya está.
I know, monsieur. But I also know that you helped the one that did to cover that.
It wasn't like that. We were just trying to help. She had no part in it.
Ahí está. Rihanna y usted pusieron en riesgo su libertad por ayudar a Lisa.
You never let on. How long have you known it was her?
Monsieur, I am Detective Hercule Poirot. I only show my hand when I deem it necessary.
You will be taking her away then.
She will stand trial for what she has done.
But you don't know the full story. She is just a servant in this house. If she is arrested, that will be the end for her.
If Mademoiselle was only protecting herself, as you both have claimed, she will surely be found innocent.
Eso no va a pasar. ¿Qué hace aquí?
The Major's military storage box.
The one that stored his medals.
Amongst other things, yes.
And those other things are?
I had to protect her. If you found it when searching the study, you would have carted her off then and there.
Usted al registrar el estudio se lo habría llevado al instante.
Whatever it is you have hidden, it will not remain that way for much longer.
Bueno, si este no oculta algo, claramente. Me va a hacer perder el tiempo con sus mensajes crípticos. Mejor me dedico a investigar por mi cuenta.
I need a moment.
Aquí. Si es detrás de la pared, si es que está más claro que el agua. Una de las muchas tallas de santos que hay por la casa, pero esta la tiene metida en una caja y arrumbada en el almacén. ¿Por qué? Si es aquí.
There is no use lying anymore.
Déjese ya de mentiras.
I need a moment.
¿What? ¿Cómo que déjese ya de mentiras? Ahora tengo que hacer la conexión. Tengo un asunto. Los secretos de la familia Mandemos se guardan en la estancia oculta.
I cannot see the logic in this.
Vale.
Another success.
Quizá la talla suelta pertenezca a alguna puerta de esta estancia. Eso explicaría la presencia de Archibald.
Things are beginning to become clearer.
Estoy convencido de que Archibald ocultó los objetos en la estancia secreta. Quizás se pueda acceder desde el almacén. Está claro, si está detrás del mueble.
There is no use.
I need a moment.
What? Pues hace un momento me has dicho que tengo que preguntarle. Examinar el almacén. Vale. Nada de interés. Hay un martillo ahí. Nada de interés. Es que es aquí. Ahí está. Registrar muebles. ¿En serio? ¿Me lo da como si fuera una puerta? Un compartimento oculto. Esta casa es una caja de sorpresas. Vaya. La caja con objetos militares del comandante contiene unas cuantas cartas y algunos recuerdos. Puñal militar. La última voluntad y el testamento del difunto vizconde. Sin duda adoraba a Angeline. Testamento y última voluntad. Declaración. Yo, el vizconde Edwin van den Bosch, en pleno uso de mis facultades, dejo constancia de mi última voluntad sin influencias externas ni coacción indebida. En caso de fallecer, artículo 1, por la presente designo a mi esposa Cassandra van den Bosch albacea de la mansión y del terreno de los van den Bosch y lego todo el patrimonio a la familia a mi única hija, Angelina van den Bosch. Si quedaran deudas, facturas del médico, gastos del funeral o impuestos pendientes, solicito que se liquiden con los fondos de la cuenta de los van den Bosch en el Banco Nacional de Bélgica. A mi querida Angeline, mi ojo derecho, la estrella más brillante del firmamento. No permitas que nadie apague tu luz ni por un solo instante. A mi esposa Cassandra, gracias por tantos años de felicidad. Nos hemos reído, nos hemos amado y concebimos una niña perfecta, el regalo más preciado del mundo. Confío en que sabrás protegerla y formarla para que aguarde un futuro repleto de oportunidades y esperanza. Firmado el vizconde Edwin van den Bosch. Un puñal de lo más distinguido. Seguro que pertenece al comandante. Bueno, pues ya lo tenemos claro, chicos. Ah, no, espérate. Tengo que hacer las conexiones. Puñal militar, caja de objetos, puñal que falta al bolsillo. Manchas de sangre. Manchas.
Magnifique.
Eso es. Aquí el arma homicida. Elizabeth lo tuvo que empuñar en el estudio. Vale. Me estoy adelantando porque tenía que haber... No he concluido mi investigación en esta zona. Ah, ¿no? Mechero costoso. Ah, vale, eso no lo había visto. Un mechero que ha debido costar una fortuna. Qué pena que se estropearan enfrente de la batalla. Venga, mis pequeñazuelas grises, vamos bien caminados. ¿Otro más? Mechero. Un símbolo irreconocible, mal conservado. Manchas de sangre, símbolo irreconocible.
I must take a different approach if I...
Vale, pues mapa de guerra, cantimplora, mechero de comandante.
Come, my little grey cells.
Archivo vendía. Archivo aseguró que aún queda mucho más por contar.
I must act on thought.
Grabado de una rosa. Ah, amigo. Vale.
The pieces of the puzzle are fine.
Este mechero pertenece al comandante. El símbolo del ejército lo confirma, pero si ya lo había encontrado, ¿no? Un mechero militar. Este mechero no era el del comandante.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment.
El mechero que he encontrado en la caja de objetos militares pertenece sin duda al comandante. ¿De dónde ha salido el otro? Nada. El otro era para despistar. Bueno, cuéntame cosas.
There is no use lying.
Ayer, cuando inspeccioné el jardín, encontré un mechero que creo que pertenecía al comandante.
He always had his regiment lighter that he received in the war on his person.
And yet, it was not his regiment emblem that was engraved on it.
My father's. It must have fallen out of my pocket. You still have it, detective.
Monsieur, you have stashed evidence, manipulated a crime scene, obscured my investigation, and yet it is a lighter that you worry about most?
If it is my path to end up behind bars for what I have done, so be it. It is Elizabeth that you cannot allow to be locked up without the truth being told. I have heard how you fought for that young maid before. Florette, is it? I only ask that you do the same for Elizabeth.
Aunque los casos no se pueden comparar, me imagino perfectamente las similitudes con el trato que dispensaron los miembros de la alta sociedad a Mademoiselle Elizabeth incluso antes de que la juzguen de manera oficial. Dispensarán, claro. Como agente de policía juré velar por la justicia y la imparcialidad. Mademoiselle Elizabeth debe contar con la oportunidad de mostrar su inocencia ante el juez como cualquier otro sospechoso.
You found it.
Even the secret area that has been created here is not concealed enough to stop Detective Hercule Poirot.
I couldn't just leave it at the scene for you to find.
The Major was killed by his own knife. The knife that protected his life during the war would eventually be the one that ended it.
It was in his holster when he attacked her. He had hold of her arm. What else was she meant to use to get him off of her?
Lo guardaba en una funda cuando la atacó. La agarró del brazo y a ella no le quedó más remedio que desenfundarla para que no la matara. No digo que el comandante permitiera que le quitara el puñal con tanta facilidad. Tendría que hallarse muy cerca para haberlo logrado. Puede que lleve razón y la atacara el primero.
She didn't plan any of it, detective. She was only defending herself.
That is what Mademoiselle told you?
She did, and I believe her. You think you knew the Major, but you had no idea. He was a monster and had more secrets than all of us combined.
That may be true, but that does not excuse what she has done.
Put yourself in her shoes for a minute. If a man like that had attacked me the way he did Lizzie, I would have done a lot worse to him.
Según la versión de los hechos que Mademoiselle Elizabeth le ha confiado a Monsieur Sterling, todo apunta a que el comandante la atacó. Me cuesta creer que se lo haya inventado, pero por otra parte, tampoco la veía capaz de cometer un asesinato.
I need a moment.
Madre mía, cómo se está esto poniendo cada vez más interesante. Mal conservado, el mechero tal, mechero militar.
This will not get me any closer.
Vale, Archibald sostiene que el comandante atacó a Elizabeth. Ataque en defensa propia.
Some would say a lucky guess.
Si solo he encontrado el mechero de Archibald, entonces no vino a ocultar nada, sino que salió a recoger algún objeto. ¿Qué se le perdería a él en el jardín?
Another success.
Archibald arrojó el arma homicida por la ventana. Eso es lo que estaba pensando y ya está. Luego salió a recoger el puñal y lo ocultó en la estancia secreta. Eso es.
There is no use
¿A quién vi anoche en el jardín? ¿A usted?
When you asked me yesterday about seeing someone out there, I thought the game was up.
O sea, no era Rehena, era él. Claro, es que tampoco tiene mucho sentido.
That does not explain what you were doing out there.
When Lizzie took me to the study, the knife was still in the Major's chest, and I knew I had to get rid of it. I dropped it out of the window, knowing no one would be going outside. It was fine for the time being, but I couldn't risk it being found when the snow melted.
So you collected it under the cover of darkness and stowed it away in here where you thought no one would find it.
After your questioning in the pantry, I knew you were onto something, and I couldn't leave it here.
And where did you plan on moving it to?
Honestly,
Sí que estaba decidida a protegerla de la justicia, tanto que llevó el arma de homicida y la ocultó para salvar a Elizabeth.
there is no use.
¿Por qué?
Why what? Why I would risk everything to help Liz?
Exactement.
Because she is family. If you were in that position, you would do the same.
I can assure you, monsieur, that I would not.
Then perhaps that says something about you, detective. I would do anything for her.
Even if it means crossing the boundaries of the law.
Without question.
La determinación de Sterling para proteger a quien él considera su familia resulta admirable, pero cuando sus acciones van contra las mismas leyes que se concibieron para proteger a los inocentes, no se puede pasar por alto. Le pido que cuando terminen sus rutinas matutinas con las señoritas de la casa, Mademoiselle Rihanna y usted, me espere en la zona de servicio.
Aye, detective. But please, you have to help Lizzie. It was all an accident. She doesn't deserve to spend the rest of her days behind bars because of that man.
Tiene toda la pinta de que Luke murió por culpa del comandante. Y Lizzie ha pintado todo esto como que ha sido en defensa propia, pero lo mismo no.
If she is put behind bars, it is because that is what the courts have decided upon.
Detective, you can't be so cruel.
It is not cruelty, monsieur. It is the law.
Y sí lo ha pintado todo, y es una venganza. Con todos los descubrimientos me bulle más la mente que las cazuelas de la cocina ayer. Tengo todas las piezas de puzzle para deducir por qué Elizabeth asesinó al comandante. Ahora debo dejar que mis pequeñas células grises las unan. Vale. Tras encontrar los documentos de la estancia secreta, todo empieza a encajar y ahora sé por qué lo mató Elizabeth.
pieces of the puzzle off.
El comandante pasaba por una mala racha económica, se las vio y se las deseó para conseguir ingresos. ¿A quién acudiría para pedir trabajo?
I should not be surprised by my own skills.
El comandante tenía que velar por el trabajo que saliera para llenarse los bolsillos. ¿Hasta qué extremos llegaría? No podía permitirse quedarse sin trabajo.
Is there something I am... I must act on thought.
Los miembros de la seguridad atacaron.
Things are beginning to become...
El comandante dio la orden de atacar en las manifestaciones para asegurarse así el trabajo. ¿Qué consecuencias implicó su decisión? Que se lo cargaran. Consecuencias, que Luke murió.
What a revelation!
Por desgracia, la orden que dio el comandante conllevó la muerte de Luke, y todo por pura envidia. Perdón, avaricia. ¿A quién afectaría este suceso? Evidentemente,
Magnifique.
Elizabeth fue la que más perdió con la muerte de Luke. Tiene motivos de sobra para querer vengarse. Elizabeth podría buscar venganza. Bueno, pues ahora no sé.
Is there some... This will not get me any closer.
Se aportan detalles sobre los actos que cometió durante... expulsado por una conducta de Son. Pero ¿y esto cuándo ha aparecido esto? Mediante la presente se certifica la expulsión del comandante Felix Hagan del ejército británico. Motivo de su expulsión: crímenes contra la humanidad durante el periodo de guerra. Descripción: durante una misión en el extranjero, un pelotón detuvo a un grupo de prisioneros de guerra que quedaron bajo la custodia y supervisión del comandante. Sin embargo, ejecutó a los prisioneros a su cargo, un acto de insubordinación y desobediencia en órdenes directas de un superior. Se dirime que sus acciones constituyen una violación directa de los valores éticos del ejército. En consecuencia, se despoja de su cargo el comandante, que deberá regresar a Inglaterra de inmediato. El comandante Félix renunciará a todas las responsabilidades de su rango, devolverá todos sus uniformes y se considerará un civil en todos los efectos. Además, se revoca la pensión que percibe el ejército británico a efectos inmediatos, así como cualquier otro beneficio. Tío, esto no lo hemos leído. ¿Cuándo ha aparecido esto? Comunicación oficial.
I must take a different approach if I am to
Canta extorsión. El comandante pagó el rescate del chantaje.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would...
Una información que saliera a la luz habría destruido su reputación. El móvil perfecto para extorsionarlo. Pero esta comunicación oficial, yo no sé cuándo la hemos encontrado. Yo no recuerdo haberla encontrado. De verdad, yo no recuerdo haber encontrado esta carta. Elizabeth no parece albergar rencor, pero todo apunta a que buscaba venganza por la muerte de su amado Luke. Si voy a encarar a Elizabeth, debe ser con mis plenas facultades y las pequeñas células grises completamente descansadas. Debo intentar dormir. Bueno. No pienso dar más vueltas en la cama. Voy a encarar ahora mismo a Elizabeth y con suerte llegaré hasta el fondo del asunto.
Detective Poirot, I'm glad you're awake.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. It has certainly not been a night of peaceful sleep. There is something that we must discuss.
Please, detective. I'm not sure I can take any more surprises like last night.
I'm afraid this may be the most upsetting of them all.
You have found Felix's killer, haven't you?
I have. And the guilty party will certainly come as a shock.
Espérate que lo mismo Angeline lo sabe. Esto no me resulta nada agradable, mademoiselle.
Detective, please.
It was Mademoiselle Elizabeth that was behind the Major's death.
You must be mistaken. Elizabeth could not do such a thing.
I assure you I am not. It is something I spent much of last night deliberating. When you spoke of the telephone lines being out of order, it made me question the conversation I thought I had heard Monsieur Sterling make with the Major before connecting the call to him.
But it hasn't been working all weekend.
Exactement, mademoiselle. That is when I knew I had once again been lied to.
Cuando fui a hablar con Sterling y mademoiselle Rihanna, me encontré a mademoiselle Elizabeth.
She was meant to be resting in the staff quarters. She has not been well.
I am afraid that was yet another lie, orchestrated to keep her from incriminating herself.
Why would you think that, detective?
I only managed a few words with her before we were quite abruptly interrupted by Monsieur Sterling.
I must admit, he has a habit of speaking over the other staff.
It was much more than merely disturbing our conversation. It was done with the intention to prevent Mademoiselle saying something that she should not.
So, Elizabeth killed Felix, and then Archibald helped her cover it up?
La encubrió. Vale.
In its simplest form, oui. I have heard it the...
You have spoken with Elizabeth already? Did she admit to it?
¿Ha confesado el crimen?
Not Elizabeth, but Monsieur Sterling.
Vaya mezcla, ¿no? ¿No lo despertó anoche un fuerte estrépito que venía desde el almacén?
I wasn't. What were you doing in there, detective?
It was Monsieur Sterling that I found in there. I was taken by some surprise to hear anyone awake at that hour.
What on earth was he doing?
He claimed he was merely reminiscing of his time with the...
You don't believe him?
It did not take long for me to uncover the truth of why he was there and the location of the Major's murder weapon.
¿La existencia de un compartimiento secreto en el almacén?
Hidden area?
A room that held all of the Major's secrets.
I had no idea. Did you discover the reason for his blackmail?
Ah, o sea que entonces en la carta, ¿sabes qué pasa? Que en la carta, claro, nosotros hemos encontrado un estuche con joyas y cartas, pero no me ha dado la opción de leer dentro de ese estuche, no joyas, las medallas del comandante. No me ha dado la opción de leer la carta. Ahí es donde estaba la carta de chantaje.
I did. Were you aware he was dishonorably discharged from the army?
Eso es, la expulsión.
Dishonorably? What does that mean?
No voy a ocultarle la verdad a mademoiselle Angeline, pero procuraré abordar el asunto con la máxima delicadeza posible. ¿No se ha fijado que Monsieur Zacharia arrastra problemas desde que luchó en la guerra, verdad?
Yes, Gideon told me about the conversation you had. It is really quite upsetting.
Zachariah was adamant of the Major's cruelty during the war, but the extent was not known until now. He killed a number of prisoners, men that were friends of Zachariah.
Surely not. He would not do such a thing. They must have been trying to escape.
I am afraid not. They were in fact unarmed.
Oh, detective.
It is the reason he was discharged, denied his military pension, and I believe the reason he fled England.
Claro, por eso se fue de Inglaterra.
He had been such an important part of my life for so long, but I feel like I hardly knew.
Insistió en la inocencia de Elizabeth.
Innocence? You said it was she that killed him.
It was her hand that held the knife, but he was quite insistent it happened in self-defense.
In all of the years I have known her, she has barely even raised her voice. I cannot believe she would do something like that out of malice.
The whole truth cannot be known until Mademoiselle Elizabeth has told her story.
Permitid que mis ideas preconcebidas sobre su carácter me sesgaran. Se ve que no he sido el único. Debo encarar a Elizabeth.
Will you allow me to be present?
I think that is an excellent idea. I hope your presence will...
Please, detective. I know she has done a terrible thing, but I beg of you to give her the time to explain her.
I will offer Mademoiselle Elizabeth the fair trial that she deserves, as I would with any suspect.
Thank you, Detective Poirot.
Would you bring Mademoiselle Elizabeth to the study, where we will not be disturbed?
Of course, I'll find her immediately.
Bueno, esto se está acabando, ¿no? Se supone. Creo en lo que me ha referido Monsieur Sterling, en lo que ocurrió entre Mademoiselle y el comandante. Creo en lo que me ha referido Monsieur Sterling, en lo que ocurrió entre Mademoiselle Elizabeth y el comandante. Dudo que lo hubiera matado si él no la hubiera atacado antes con tanta virulencia como para temer por su vida. Debo escuchar su historia, la verdad, solo entonces podré determinar su castigo.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth, merci for joining us.
Miss Angeline said you requested to see me urgently.
We have some serious matters to discuss, and I would like to waste no further time.
Oh, yes, Detective. Still not quite myself.
I was surprised when Monsieur Sterling hurried you to assist Madame Vandenbosch last night.
I should not have avoided my duties for so long. The house does not stop because I'm feeling a little under the weather.
That is true, but you cannot be expected to complete all your tasks if you are not in...
Honestly, Detective, it was best for me to not sit and wallow anymore.
He descubierto varias cosas este fin de semana.
Have you been able to uncover who the blackmailer is?
The blackmailer's identity has been established, and they will pay the price for their crime.
Wonderful news, Detective. You can put it all behind you now. You must be thrilled.
I would not say thrilled, knowing that such a close friend has betrayed us.
Mademoiselle is correct. What I have learned over this weekend is that people are not always as they appear. While they may give an impression of being a friend or ally, they can in fact be something completely different.
And, what of the Major's killer?
Hay que ser cínico, para preguntar.
Well, mademoiselle, that is why I have asked you here now.
He preguntado a todos los invitados lo que opinan sobre el comandante. Ahora le planteo la pregunta a usted.
I'm not quite sure what you want me to say, Detective.
Your honest opinion is all I ask, and, s'il te plaît, do not hold back.
We only spoke when there was something in the house to be done. We did not speak of interests or pastimes.
You knew of his work with Monsieur de Silva?
I only know what is required of me to know, and that is very little.
But you were aware of his work as security at Monsieur de Silva's factory.
I was.
The factory your beloved Luke worked at, before he was cruelly taken from this world.
Yes, Detective.
Luke no solo se involucró en la protesta, sino que estuvo en la primerísima línea.
Yes, that is where he spent his last moments. Standing shoulder to shoulder with his fellow workers.
The resulting riots were a terrible tragedy. One that I hope we will not have to see or experience again. Something that could have been avoided had the Major and his team done...
Nobody deserved to die that day. Not my Luke. Detective, what kind of question is that?
It is a straightforward one.
Sin ambajes.
He...
Mademoiselle, if there is something you wish to tell me, now is that time.
I'm sorry, Detective, I just don't know how to answer it.
Let us consider what we know of the Major. He fronted the militia that attacked the workers at the strike. You were aware of this? You finally had someone to blame for Luke's death. Someone conveniently located in the same house, alone in his study.
No, Detective. It wasn't like that.
Tell me what happened with the Major on the evening of his death.
I was only in here trying to prove what I heard Mr. Beckers say. I was going to report him, I swear. Miss Angeline, you believe me, don't you?
I want to. I am still trying to understand it all myself.
Eso.
Why don't you start from the beginning?
I was delivering Miss Angeline's dress to her room when I heard Mr. Beckers arguing with the Major in his study. They were ever so loud. I thought the whole house would have been listening to what they were saying. Mr. Beckers was talking about the factory strikes and how it was the Major's fault. He told him that if he didn't own up to his crimes, he would go to the newspapers.
I cannot imagine the Major would have taken kindly to Monsieur Becker's threat.
He didn't. He called him some rather uncouth names before Mr. Becker's left and went downstairs, and made sure to keep out of sight. After the altercation between the Major and Master Gideon, you went to speak with him outside, and I thought I could look around his study without anyone knowing. I had to know for sure. If it was true, he deserved to be held accountable.
And did you find the proof you are looking for?
I found a payment from Mr. De Silva, but there was nothing incriminating about that. I was so nervous. I felt like my heart was beating out of my chest.
And then you saw the blackmail note.
I recognized the writing on the envelope. I couldn't believe it. How could he do such a thing to Angeline? To the family that had taken him in?
La nota del chantaje.
Common sense would determine the Major was another victim of the blackmailer.
¿No dedujo por puro sentido común que el comandante era otra víctima del chantajista?
If I'd have used common sense, I wouldn't have been snooping around alone in his study in the first place. I heard the footsteps in the hall, and before I could move, the Major was standing in front of me, demanding to know why I was going through his belongings without permission. I tried to come up with an excuse, but nothing came out, and when he saw the letter in my hand, it was like Dr. Jekyll turning into Mr. Hyde.
Y vi al Dr. Jekyll transformarse en Mr. Hyde.
I tried to move around him towards the door, but he hurled something towards me and it crashed against the wall.
That would explain the damage to the wall.
I froze. I have never been so scared in all my life. I thought he was going to kill me there and then.
And you thought you would beat him to it?
Oh, Detective, you make it sound as though I had it all planned. He lunged forward and grabbed me by the arm. I tried to push him away, but he was too strong. If only you had seen the look in his eyes, I dared not even scream. I saw the sheath on his belt. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to hurt him, but he wouldn't let go of me.
So you took your opportunity to put an end to it all.
I just wanted to get him off me. I didn't want to hurt him. I reached for it and I jabbed it at him. His grip instantly loosened and I ran straight out the door and didn't look back.
You did not even look to see what state you had left him in?
She had just been attacked, Detective.
Acaba de atacarla, detective.
Oui, please. Continuez.
Acaba de atacarla, claro.
I ran down to the pantry looking for Rahana. I explained to her what had happened and she went to find Archie. She said he would know what to do. We went back to the study and he was still... Archie said that no one would believe me. That if someone like me killed someone like him, I would be sent straight to the gallows. He left the letter so you would find it. He said that if people knew what the Major was really like, then they wouldn't care what happened to him.
So I am to believe that it was Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna that cleaned the scene and orchestrated a plan that included a fake telephone call and dressing as the Major so that he may be seen. You had nothing to do with that.
I swear I had no idea that is what they had done. Archie just told me to stay out of sight. I am no master criminal.
Then Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna will be charged for obstruction of justice and impeding my investigation.
Please, Detective, they were only trying to help me.
If they wished to help you, they should have brought all of this to my attention immediately instead of committing more illegal acts.
Surely you haven't forgotten what happened with Fleurette. She was only accused of stealing a bracelet. I killed a man.
It is a day I have not forgotten, mademoiselle. Even for a moment.
Without your help, I don't stand a chance. Please, Detective Poirot, you are the only one that can help me.
Oh, Elizabeth, why didn't you come to me?
I didn't think you would believe me. I felt so guilty. And when it was announced yesterday that he was a victim of the blackmailer, I wanted to tell you everything. I came to find you last night, Detective, but Archie stopped me. I'm sorry.
Venga, mi pequeña célula, si quieres sobre este misterio. Pues, no hay mucho más que resolver. Esto está listo para sentencia, jóvenes.
Come, my little grey cells. We must...
Ataque en defensa propia.
I should not be surprised by my own skills.
La versión de los hechos de Elizabeth corrobora lo que sostiene Marcos. El comandante murió por un ataque en defensa propia. Por fin resuelto el caso del asesinato del comandante, aunque no me resulta nada agradable declarar como asesina a Mademoiselle Elizabeth. Ojalá no se hallara en esta situación.
Yes, detective. I don't know where it is.
If you have been honest with me until now, I ask that you continue.
I'm sorry, I really don't know. Archie dropped it out of the study window and he said he would deal with it. I couldn't bear to touch the thing.
El puñal lo tengo yo. Por cómo ha reaccionado Mademoiselle Elizabeth, creo que realmente no sabe nada del asunto. Desconoce los esfuerzos de Monsieur Sterling y Mademoiselle Rihanna para encubrir lo que había hecho. Monsieur Sterling no mentía al asegurarme de que haría lo que fuera por ella. Espéreme en mi habitación.
Please, I was only protecting myself. I didn't want to hurt him. He just wouldn't let me go.
Oui, mademoiselle. I know. Mademoiselle tells quite the harrowing story.
I cannot imagine the Major acting in such a way. But Elizabeth could not make up such a story.
After learning what I have about the Major's character this weekend, I would not question the lengths he would go to in order to keep his secret hidden.
Su secreto.
I know that you share a close bond with Mademoiselle Elizabeth, but you cannot allow your personal feelings to taint your belief of what took place.
She has committed a terrible crime, but she will live with that for the rest of her life. She is not a cold-blooded killer.
If what she says of the Major's attack is true, she acted in self-defense. And in the law's eyes, a crime has not been committed.
Ahora lo que nos está pidiendo es que hagamos la vista gorda.
I will do everything I can to make sure her story is heard and a fair trial is conducted.
Va a ser que no. Creo en la veracidad del testimonio de Mademoiselle Elizabeth, en el arrebato de ira del comandante ante la amenaza de que sus oscuros secretos salieran a la luz. Atacó a la joven Mademoiselle y la obligó a defenderse de esa manera. Se puso en una situación muy arriesgada, pero una pequeña parte de mí elogia su determinación por buscar justicia por su amado y el resto de los trabajadores que perdieron la vida a las órdenes del comandante. Si la línea telefónica funciona, debo hacer una llamada para comunicar los resultados de mi investigación. Aún no han despejado de nieve la carretera y tardarían un buen rato en llegar.
Mademoiselle, it is time I address the house.
Are you sure? What will you say? What if they do not listen?
I can assure you, they will.
Elizabeth was right, though. She's just a servant. What if they...
Mademoiselle, when Detective Poirot speaks, they will listen.
A ver.
Would you ask the guests to convene in the library?
Of course. And what of the staff?
I have told Monsieur Sterling to remain in the staff quarters with the others. When the authorities arrive, they shall be dealt with. You have been of great help to me throughout my investigation, and now that it is over, I have one final request.
You only need to ask.
While I am speaking with the guests in the library, would you watch over Mademoiselle Elizabeth in my room?
Esta se suicida, ok.
You don't think she will try and escape, do you?
In her position, I do not know what she might try. But I trust with you there, any potential ideas of such a thing will be squashed.